Back here, first things first, with Antoine Walker, we are going viral. Former President Barack Obama was in attendance for Game 2, the NBA Finals in Toronto. Yesterday, a video surfaced of Obama discussing another Finals game.
Last time I was in finals, Michael Jordan was playing Gary Payton.
Yeah. And you and I were both there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was
you were in high school.
I was actually telling some young people, I said, Payton actually was one of those guys who could Gary Payton. You look at Michael's percentages in the finals. He got the points, but he took a lot of. He looked more Kobe-esque in terms of. It was true.
Oh, President Obama, 100% right, with a little Kobe slander mixed in there.
I'm gonna have to look somewhere. I have my sideline credential. I was at that final.
95, 96 final?
Yes, sir.
Jordan's first full year back from retirement?
I know that because I broke the NFL record that year. I was on a world tour. Me and Mike was doing it.
And what President Obama's talking about there, by the way, the Bulls went up 3-0 in that series. Then George Karl, in his infinite wisdom, after being down 3-0, said, maybe I should put Gary Payton on Michael Jordan.
I think Gary Payton threatened him after the third game.
The rest of the way, Jordan shot 30% from the field, 11% from three, averaged just 24 points. Seattle won games 4 and 5, lost game 6. Could have been a different series had Gary Payton been guarding him the whole way. But
it wouldn't have been no different. We know how this ends.
Well,
all these movies end the same.
You know how it
with
ended.
Jordan. This is Jordan. We're not talking about LeBron.
What about the year
it's
before?
close. Give him a serum.
What happened the year before?
Okay.
Nick Anderson rips him. You don't even make the finals. Go home.
Were you alive then?
Go home, please.
It was the number 45. That's all.
Yeah.
It was the number.
Go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
Work here. Moving on to action on the court with all the talk about injuries to Clay, KD, Kawhi, and I'm seeing a pattern there. Steph Curry has quietly led the Warriors through the start of this series. And as it heads back to Oracle for Game 3, he is the heavy betting favorite to win MVP, with Kawhi and Draymond having the next best odds. Antoine, has Steph Curry been the most valuable player this series through 2 games?
No, I think it's Draymond Green. I think, one averaging pretty much a triple-double. What he does for them defensively, as well as what he does for them offensively, has been tremendous in this series. I know the first game didn't look as great, but still was a triple-double. He still had his input on the game. We know Siakam went off, but he did take accountability for that. But he wasn't on Siakam that much.
Yes. In Game 1.
I think if you look at Steph's game, I think Game 1, even though the numbers look really good, but Steph got to the foul line while he was in the penalty. I don't really count that. It wasn't really a spectacular 30-point.
What you're talking about there is there's one thing to hit the foul line because you draw a shooting foul.
But he was
another thing when you're out dribbling the ball and somebody fouls you.
I think he got like 6 free throws just doing that. And then Game 2, I mean, obviously he disappeared. Obviously in the first half and then the fourth quarter. I mean, the first quarter and the fourth quarter, he disappears in those games. And Draymond's been the most consistent player. So I would say Draymond's the MVP right now after 2 games.
I think, too, we got to give Draymond credit. We don't give enough defensive player, two-way players credit. But if a guy is an energy guy, like if he's the one going to get the team going, like you got to be able to give him credit for that. I just think Draymond does so many little intangibles that take the grunt work away from people like Steph. Iggy, what he's going to do, it benefits Steph. So to me, the most valuable player, would they be down 2-0 without Steph? Yeah, they probably would. But Draymond Green, we know that they would be down 2-0.
Well, the other thing, fair or not, and I think it is fair, even if they won Game 2 as they did, if that technical with a minute left, if Draymond had done that, what would the narrative have been?
Boogie.
If the announcer just gave it to Boogie.
Oh, absolutely.
The announcer just said,
I got 2 students. Someone threw a spitball. Got to be that guy.
Exactly right. The announcer just gave it to Boogie, and then they saw it. And that was, I don't want to be hyperbolic here. Man, if that ball, which it damn near did, hit the ref on the way down, that would have been a disaster for them because he'd have gotten thrown out for that. That would have been 2 technicals. Like, it was just a impossibly dumb moment from such a smart player in Steph. But your point on the first and fourth quarters, Game 2, the first quarter from Steph, he's 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. That's a bad quarter. You know what's a worse quarter? The fourth quarter of game number 2, 0, 0, 0. 0 field goal attempts, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 2 fouls, and a technical. Like, now, people can say, well, they were playing that box.
Kyle Lowry was out of the fourth quarter most of the time.
Right, he had foul trouble. Van Vliet has been giving him a lot of problems defensively. I think Steph, by the way, so I agree with him. I think through 2 games it's Draymond, but they don't award this through 2 games. I think Steph is the best bet. I think the Warriors are going to win the finals, and given the injuries to everyone, Steph's going to have to take on a bigger load. But I also want the audience to understand, man, Steph is as close as a player has come to winning finals MVP ever without winning it. In 2015, the year he won regular season MVP, Antoine, he averaged more points per game in the finals than he did the regular season. When those votes came out, it was 4 for LeBron, 4 for Iggy, 3 for Steph. And the 7 voters is what's been reported. I obviously wasn't one of them. I wasn't there. They came together and said, well, we can't have a tie. And we all obviously think it should be a Warrior. And since Iggy was up 4-3, they recast their ballots, and they all switched to Iggy. So the final voting there was 7 for Iggy, 4 for LeBron, 0 for Steph. Steph, to me, the best argument for that finals MVP was for LeBron, but if a losing player is not going to get it, Steph had a great argument for MVP that year. And then this is much more of a moot point about Steph and his legacy and MVP of the finals.
But Antoine, doesn't the job become so much harder now for Steph? Because if he's the only real shooter out there, most of Toronto's focus is going to be on Steph Curry. I mean, how is he going to even get open, much less be able to put numbers up?
Well, if Toronto wants to win this series, you got to continue to play a boxing one, gimmick defense, trap him. I'm not going to lose this series with Steph Curry going off for 35 a night. He's going to have to work every night for us. So that opens it up for Draymond Green, who's made great plays. When they double team, he's versatile enough where he can make the right play. Even just the pass, I thought those 2 alley-oop passes to Andrew Bogut was huge.
Oh, my God.
Finding those guys and getting open shooters. Those are the things that kind of stand out to make Draymond Green the MVP so far, because he's making those plays, because they're going to take Steph out the game. I love this strategy. I love the fact that Toronto is not going to let Steph Curry beat them. They want other guys to step up and beat them. This is the best formula, especially if Kevin Durant's not going to play. This is the best formula to beat Golden State.
And one thing, international soccer does something, they have man of the match. If you looked at these NBA finals through 2 games, the man of the match in game 1 would have been Pascal Siakam, without any question. 14 of 17, 32 points. Yeah. The man of the match in the second game would have been Draymond Green. 17, 10, and 9, outstanding defense, taking Siakam away, all of a sudden getting the Warriors going on the fast break. Kawhi and Steph, the best players on both teams, and if you want to argue Steph, KD, well, KD's not playing. Neither one of those guys, I don't think anyone would argue, would have been man of the match in game 1 or 2, nor would Clay have been. Clay was on pace in game 2 to potentially get it, but then he got hurt. And so right now it's been not Siakam and Draymond are more important than just bench guys or role guys, but not your frontline players, not the guys who are on the graphic when they're advertising the next game. They don't show their face, but they've been. Pascal was the best player in game 1. I think Draymond was the best player in game 2.
All right. Antoine, thanks so much. Much appreciate being here.
Great job as always, brother.
Take a break. Coming up, who's the best teammate to pair with LeBron James? That's next on First Things First.
You here tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Thought you might be heading back to Chicago.